Who's actually getting the most out of a high-end AVR these days? Is the Denon X3800H the sweet spot for a family that streams 8K movies and still wants a solid music setup, or is it a pricey overkill for someone who just watches a few shows a week? And if you're watching the price tag, does it really deliver enough everyday value to justify the spend? Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. I hear that hesitation a lot when I talk to folks who are building a home theater. I need something future-proof, but I don't want to end up with a box that's only impressive on paper. The X3800H promises 9.4 channels, 8K pass-through, Dolby Atmos, and DTS:X, which sounds perfect for a big screen setup. But the real question is how that translates to the living room on a Tuesday night when the kids are fighting over the remote and you just want a clear dialogue track without wrestling with menus. Let's start with the kind of room where this unit shines. If you've already invested in a 4K or 8K TV and plan to fill a medium-tonnage space, say a 20-foot viewing area with a 5.1 or 7.1 speaker layout, the X3800H gives you the headroom to add height speakers later without needing a whole new amp. The 105 watt per channel rating means you won't be scrambling for volume when you fire up an action movie that leans heavily on explosions. In practice, I've seen people report that the dynamic range stays clean even when the bass module is cranked up for a home theater blockbuster, so you can enjoy those deep rumblings without the front speakers sounding strained. Now, think about the everyday use case: streaming a Netflix 8K documentary, watching a Blu-ray concert, or spinning vinyl on a turntable. The AVR's built-in HDMI 2.1 supports 8K per 60 Hz pass-through, which means your TV can still display the full resolution while the receiver handles the audio decoding. That matters because many newer TVs will output a raw video signal that the receiver needs to pass straight through, and you won't lose any color depth or HDR detail. If you're a music lover, the 7.2 label isn't a typo. It reflects the ability to assign two subwoofer outputs, giving you the option to place one sub in the main listening area and another in a secondary room, like a den or home office. I've seen a couple of setups where the second sub feeds a small listen anywhere zone, and the transition between rooms feels seamless because the AVR can manage the crossover and level matching on its own. Who should definitely consider buying this? First, households that already have or plan to upgrade to an 8K TV. The future-proof HDMI ports mean you won't need a separate upgrade in a couple of years. Second, anyone who wants a true Atmos experience without buying a separate preamp or processor. The X3800H includes built-in decoding for the major object-based formats, so you can drop in upward-firing speakers and be ready to go. Third, audiophiles who want to integrate a turntable or a network music service into the same box, the receiver's phono input and Wi-Fi streaming capabilities let you treat it as a central hub for both movies and music. On the flip side, if you're a casual viewer who sticks to 1080p content, or you live in a small apartment where a 2-channel or 3-channel setup is enough, the X3800H may feel like overkill. Its 105 watt rating is generous, but you'll rarely need that power in a compact space, and you might end up paying for headroom you never use. Also, the unit's size and weight mean you'll need a sturdy shelf or cabinet. It isn't a plug-and-play device you can hide behind a thin TV stand. If you're planning a minimalist aesthetic, the depth of the front panel could be a surprise. A practical weakness that shows up once the unit is installed is the learning curve around the Denon HEOS app. The app does a great job of letting you pull in Spotify, Tidal, or Plex, but the initial setup can be a bit confusing, especially when you try to assign zones or calibrate the subwoofers. I've watched a few owners spend an hour or more tweaking the speaker distances and crossover points before they got the sound to feel right. That's not a deal breaker, but it does require a willingness to dig into the menus rather than just hitting a preset. Another point worth mentioning is the automatic room correction. Denon's Odyssey Multi-Q works well in most rooms, but it does rely on a microphone placement that's sometimes hard to get perfect in irregularly shaped spaces. In a rectangular living room, the correction will smooth out peaks and nulls, but if your furniture creates a lot of acoustic absorption on one side, you might notice a lingering imbalance after the calibration. In those cases, a manual tweak of the EQ bands can restore balance, but that adds another layer of fine-tuning. What about connectivity beyond HDMI? The X3800H offers 6 HDMI inputs, which is enough for a